welcome to the 52nd episode of the Pickleball Crew. We've been at this for 1 year now, and I got to tell you, boy, it's been a lot of fun. And Jeff, remind us how we got started with this.
So about a year and a half ago, or longer than that, I used to call Ken and Vicki, and we would talk. We would have it was kind of like pickleball conversations, and we would talk about different stuff. And one day we were talking about it, and I said, man, because I had started, I never watched podcasts, but when pickleball came along, I started watching a few pickleball podcasts, and I told them, I said, man, this ought to be a podcast. And I was kind of halfway joking, and I think Ken and Vicki were like, yeah, you're right. So then it seemed like a couple weeks later, I mentioned it to Bud half-heartedly, not thinking we're fixing to do a podcast, but Bud was like, well, let's do it. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I have no clue what to do, but let's do it. And come to find out, Bud was real good in the editing world. And here we are 1 year later. And I'm not saying we're great, but I think we've really gotten better at it. We've covered a lot of ground. We've introduced a lot of people, and we want to continue to do that as far as I'm concerned. And we've had along this journey, we've had some people say, well, y'all need to, if y'all want to get many more subscribers, this and that, you ought to go regional, try to go bigger. But we don't really want to do that. We want to stay kind of local to South Louisiana, and try to build it from within. So, yeah. So be careful what you mention to Bud, and be careful when you're talking to Ken and Vicki, because next thing you know, you'll be doing a podcast where you're once a week filming a show. But it's been a fun journey for me, and I know it has been for y'all.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, in addition to my love for pickleball, I've always really been enthralled with video and editing, and this goes back to when I lived in Houston. I actually worked for a Fortune 500 company, and I produced training and marketing videos for them. So I really always loved it. Back here, the last couple of years, I bought some editing software. I played around with the grandkids and Little League, so I was really searching for something that I could put my teeth into and have a lot of fun with. And along came the Pickleball Crew.
Well, I know that Jeff and I'd be talking on the phone, and we would be talking on a topic for 30 minutes, and one of us would say, hey, that's an episode right there. There's an episode, just staying on one topic at a time. And, I agree with what Jeff said. It was just that conversation that we learned so much, from sharing ideas, and really we wanted to just bring those ideas out to a larger audience. And also just look, we're not experts. We do try to read up and study and take it from our own experiences, but really it's just been, we're just everyday pickleball players that like talking about it and just wanted to share it out with our friends and family and let it grow, organically from there.
I'm very grateful that there's a time limit on these podcasts, because these conversations, just to put it in perspective, sometimes would go on. I'd leave the house to go to the grocery store, come back, and those two would still be on the phone chatting about pickleball. So we're not talking about a 15-minute conversation here. This was long conversations, very detailed, very well thought out. And I'm not surprised at all that this is where this ended up. So
yeah, a lot of the conversations would end because it would be, hey, my battery's getting low.
I encourage people, when you're at the courts, or when you're working on something, or if you notice something while you're playing, and talk with your friends about it, because it's helped me solidify different ideas in my mind of what to do on the pickleball court by having so many conversations. And I know there's going to be people out there that are like, man, y'all need to get a life. But
It is. It's our life.
if you like pickleball, which a lot of people we talk to do, it's something to discuss. If you see a little something on the court that's going on, discuss it with your friends and try to break down what they're doing good or what they're doing bad. I think for me, Ken, Vicki, and Bud, because Bud, I've had some conversations with you too, and again, like Ken said, we're not the know all see all, but because we've dug into it and discussed it a lot, we at least have some opinions on how the game should be played.
So true. And I got to tell you, when I jumped into this with you guys, my focus at the beginning was how can we get this going so we can make some money at it. And I'll tell you what's happened. Instead of that, I've gained 3 new, really good friends. I mean, and I could care less how popular, how many subscribers we get, how many views we get. To me, the highlight of my week is just getting on this platform and just talking to my friends about pickleball. And then the friendship exists beyond this. I've made 3 good friends that really go beyond pickleball and go beyond the pickleball crew. So for me, I can't tell you how much this means to me, and especially an old guy like me.
I know we feel the same way, but it's been a good road, and just the pick up the phone, count on the other person being there is really nice, and it definitely goes beyond pickleball. It's been really, really, really nice and really good to
Really have. All right, guys, thanks for that. Thanks for sharing those thoughts with us. I think now's a really good time to take a break. And when we get back, we want to talk about our top 10 episodes, just give you a little bit of a recap of those. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Pickleball Crew. We are a group of pickleball fanatics based in Southeast Louisiana and are passionate about all things pickleball everywhere. Our focus is to inform, acknowledge those who help build the game regionally, and promote tournaments in our area. We do our best to present this with a love of the sport, a sense of humor, and a lot of fun. So join Vicki Wynn, Ken Wynn, Jeff Fuchsia, and me, Bud Klein, in our latest episode. We are glad you are along for the ride.
Oh, okay. Hey, we're back. Let's talk about our top 10 episodes. This is the rating is based on the number of views. So we'll start off with number 10 and work our way up. Number 10 aired April 12th of 2024, and it was trends influencing the game. What did you guys think about that episode?
I remember that being pretty chock full on a lot of trends that were happening at the time. And, we talked about paddle technology and how much that has changed even in a year since we started this. I mean, we know it's changed longer than that, but really in the last year, how much competition there's been on that. And then we talked a lot about younger players coming in finally, and, really interesting. I heard a podcast myself, and this was the CEO of Duper talking, and he said it's very rare that there's a sport that starts out in the with seniors and works its way to juniors. It's usually the other way around. But pickleball is just definitely different in that way. So that was one of the other trends that I know we talked about. We were that podcast was pretty chock full.
Yeah, it definitely was. I think we kind of hit on some good points and really shot evolution. When we first learned the game, it was work on that third shot drop. And now, you've got the drip, the drive, and, following with a 5th shot drop or a 7th shot drop. So it's kind of like there's more of a wider range of third shots that are successful. So we learned a lot from discussing that.
Well, I'm going to date the progression even more. When I started playing, nobody did the drop shot, and dinking was almost unheard of. You stayed at the baseline and you hit the ball. It was like tennis,
Mm-hmm.
and occasionally
wow.
you would come to the no volley zone.
Yeah.
So that, to me, the biggest evolution to me was learning how to play the soft game and learning how to dink. That to me, so that's the trend I saw.
What for me, the uniqueness, another unique thing about pickleball, which you could list 10 things about it that make it unique, but I never would have thought 5 years ago that it would be evolving like it is. And y'all, I don't think the end is in sight on the evolvement of this game.
No.
I agree.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see. I think you're starting to see it going back to a power game a little bit more.
Well, I
There,
think you could be right, Bud. I mean, look, I grew up with the tennis evolution of wooden racket. It went to steel racket, to
Rod
aluminum,
Laver.
to a composite, a graphite. And that technology is still changing. You went to a larger head, mid-size head. So there's been a lot of changes over the last 40 years in tennis that has sped up that game, made it more of a power game. And so it's going to be interesting to see where the technology takes pickleball, because it's going to be a big driver of pickleball, the technology.
And you've got shots that are just developing as we speak. The Ernie, the Burt, the
ATP.
ATPs.
Yep.
And now you've got the Scorpion and the Tomahawk. And I think I learned a brand new one the other day that I have written down. So yes, I mean, shot selection it's really changing too. So.
All right, let's jump to number 9. Number 9 aired on March 3rd of 2024. It was Flipping Points. And I think actually this was Jeff's suggestion on this one. That was a good suggestion, Jeff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the flipping points?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts of the game is turning a defensive situation back into an offensive situation. It goes back. It's interconnected with what we just talked about on the evolvement of the game. People are saying, the game is being played faster and faster, but your top teams, your top players, if you watch points, if you don't have those resets and that digging aspect to turn things around, get the ball soft, get yourself back to the net, then you can't win. You have no chance of winning those points if you keep firing away. So yeah, I like that episode. But I'm kind of defense oriented, trying to get more offense oriented. But I like that episode.
Mm-hmm. Definitely an important part of strategy. Again, changing and evolving and learning how to do those things is changing and getting more and more and more important.
All right, let's go to number 8. Number 8 aired February 17th of 2024. It was 5 drills to elevate your game. We talked about the serve, return of serve, third shot, drop, drive, dinking, resetting, and blocking.
You got to take this one away, Vicki, on the drill situation.
Drills. Well, and again, this actually came from either a video or an article that I read that it was a coach that had focused in those areas alone with drilling and felt like this is definitely going to elevate your game and take you to the next level. So it was working a lot on control and in all those areas, but also learning how to have, I guess, a repetition and getting to the point. This was sort of one of the earlier stages for us with drilling, and just watching everybody get more and more consistent by doing these drills was just really, really wonderful to watch. And I do know for myself, like trying to go up a level during this time as well. Like I always say, and I've said it a couple of times, I came off the court and one of the first things I said is we have got to learn to reset and block better. I mean, there again, just being able to play the game against higher rated opponents, these are things that you absolutely have to have intact in order to take your game to the next level for sure.
We preach this all the time, and the four of us we do drill. We play with some really good players that don't drill, and I mean you can slowly get better like that. I wonder about some of those players if they would find time to drill. But I did want to make mention. I don't know if y'all saw this on Facebook or not, but two people that drill a lot, Amy Rollins and Scott Korth, they won silver in a 5-0 50 plus tournament in Atlanta this past weekend. And both of those players drill a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them. Scott's over there. Now that we lost Chase over to the Gulf Shores area, it's our loss.
All right.
But Scott's gained. Scott drills quite a bit with Chase Rigdon.
That's great.
And they dedicate time to it. So it's important. So I think any episode that we've done, which we've talked about drilling a good bit, and I'm sure we will in the future, is important for those wanting to improve their game.
Well, I know personally, a year and a half ago, I was pretty good at a serve, a return of serve, and ground strokes. I was not proficient in blocking, resetting, and dinking. And drilling and being a part of that group has raised the level of my play. And I think, Vicki, I told you today, we had some good games out on the court, and I would not have played at the level I played at today a year ago. And it's just due to drilling and learning those shots. You've got to learn those 5 basic shots
and master them. We talk about that a lot. Master them and master them before you move on to some of these other fancy shots. So
you got to have confidence in it.
Yeah, they want to do the ATPs and they want to do the Ernies and all the fun and exciting things, but get them in a dink battle and they're not going to be able to do it. So it is very important.
Yeah, somebody paid me the ultimate compliment. I think it was Saturday when they told somebody else that we just got done playing, don't get in a dink battle with Bud Klein. And that made me feel really good.
They weren't saying that 2 years ago, were they?
No, they weren't saying that a year ago.
Okay, so number 7 aired February 22nd of 2024, and it was a visit with Jen and Tony, who've been really one of the top doubles teams out of this greater Louisiana, Mississippi, out of the South. They've competed at the national level and have done very, very well. So that was a good episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I really like Tony. I like Jen, but Tony's such a good player, and I had a couple of videos of Jen and Tony at that tournament in Florida, and it was exciting watching them play together.
Yeah, that was good. It was nice to have them. I think we had talked about having them with us for a little while. And, and also hearing their good news that they were looking at now going to some senior pro tournaments. We're not sure when they'll be able to get on that journey, but we certainly wish them well and they deserve it. And it was really exciting to hear all about that too.
Yeah, for me, y'all, that's one of the visions that I had is not just trying to get, say, high level people on, but anybody on that wants to that wants to come on with us, anybody that's watching this, if you're out there and you would like to come on with us, approach us and ask us about it. Because I mean, we're going to try to continue doing this for as long as we can, and we want to highlight not just higher level players, but anybody that that wants to share their pickleball story with us. Everybody has a unique journey. We've heard that from Robert Kelly to Brent to Holly to Howard Ward. So I'd like to do more of that in the future. So that's what I like about those episodes that we've had guests on.
Okay, number 6 episode was our visit to Stax, which aired December 28th of 2023. That was fun. They had just opened just prior to that, a few months, and we were invited to tour and speak with them, and it was a great visit. It was really got some good insight on what their plan was going forward.
That was really something for me because I didn't go with you guys. So the only thing I saw of Stax was the video and the stills that you guys took. And to be honest with you, at the time, I wasn't really that impressed. But I went with Jeff one morning and we played there. And I want to tell you something. That is a great place to play pickleball.
It is.
It probably, to me, is the best indoor pickleball that I've ever played. I mean, it's perfect. The black walls, the bright lights, the soundproofing. To me, that just made a perfect environment for indoor pickleball.
It is a great place. And that was my impression too at first, was that, when he said, you're going to be able to be here when the pickleballers are coming and playing. And he said, and just like we're having a conversation right now with each other, when they're here playing, you're still going to be able to do that. And that was very true. And, having those things is an advantage. The black wall, you see the ball very easily. Having those things already there for them, I think, was such a plus and such a bonus. But what nice guys. And their vision to do it for the community is just so honorable. And, I know that the people of Baton Rouge really appreciate all the hard work they're putting into it. So.
Well, I tell you, as impressed as I was of what they did inside the facility, I was really more impressed with their vision and how, one, they have made it very affordable just to drop in. 2, they are having regular mixers and tournaments, and even some of the tournaments that have been been played locally are now moving their tournament to indoors. And they just had such a unique vision and plan. They put a lot of time thinking about this. This wasn't just like, hey, let's open up a pickleball place. Those are 2 sharp young men and their other partners. And I tell you what, they're going to be a facility to be compared to for a long time.
Yeah, we need to get them to come over here and find something on the North Shore.
Well, Stax Pickleball has taken pickleball in our area and pumped it with steroids and put it on the fast track. Around the time they were opening and before that, you heard a lot of people talking about, well, somebody ought to do this, do that, do this. Well, then they came together and did it. And like you said, Ken, they're doing a lot of different tournaments. They got some other exciting stuff on the horizon. As a matter of fact, this weekend they have a tournament there, and on Monday, Memorial Day, there is a Duper MLP, and it's by Duper scores, and I'm actually playing in it. I was talking with Bud about it, so hopefully we'll have a report on that. Hopefully we're going to see more of that in the future, because we all know that those MLP events are a lot of fun.
Definitely. It's exciting. We'll be anxious to hear all about it for sure.
Okay, our number 5 episode was the official rankings and how did you stack up? and that aired November 23rd of 2023. And that was really popular. I know a lot of people may have come into the game and may think they're, at a certain level or just unsure of what level they are. And so we really went level by level, and we kind of read through some of the requirements and talked about, the things that you should be able to do at a 3-5, at a 4-0, at a 4-5 plus. So I think that was a very educational episode.
I think it was. I mean, it makes you sit back and do a little bit of self-analysis. I know we all like to read what it says, what it takes to get to a different level. And, being honest with yourself, can I really do all of that? Can I do it consistently? So that I think we probably made a lot of people sit back and think about how good am I really?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a hard thing to do. And, but by not being honest with yourself and just pretending, you're not giving yourself the time to develop into something better, something more. It can be discouraging. I know of somebody right now who's discouraged because it just had this impression like, I knew I was this level of player. Like, why am I not succeeding as much? And especially in a tournament situation, it is. It's tough to look at it, tough to know these are the boo-boos I make. I mean, we talk about that all the time. Jeff, you remind us of that in drills too. Be honest with yourself. And it's true. If you don't want the help, you don't want to look at it, that's fine. You keep playing recreational pickleball at whatever level you want to. And again, we're not the experts. We're just sharing what the requirements seem to be for those levels. But we're seeing a lot of juggling with that right now. You're seeing a lot of questions from newer players for sure. But I think you're also getting some questions from some higher players that want to move up the ladder and want to do it so quickly. And, is 3-5 still 3-5? Is 4-0 still 4-0? A lot of people are questioning that right now.
We're all wanting to know what level player we are, where you shake out. Duper helps that. And then, what group of players is wanting to play with you? If it's a medium to high level group, then you're probably a medium to high level player. If it's a high level group that's calling you all the time, you're probably a higher level player. But hopefully in the future, Duper and maybe somebody will come up with some other system to kind of help. We've thrown around the idea of a skills test. Throw out a skills test there, and just like you used to do when you were in high school or college, and see how that skills test works out. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode, Ken. We covered everything. We just kind of laid it out there for people, and you could just kind of dig into that and try to put yourself where you thought you were. Hey, I think I'm a 5-0 player. If y'all don't think that, y'all just can't see it, I guess. Y'all blind. That's a joke. That's a joke, by the way.
Oh, I thought you were serious.
All right,
Okay,
moving on, Ken.
Our number 4 episode was First Time Partner. It aired February 29th, Leap Day of 2024. And you know what? We're all jump into a tournament or somebody asked us that we don't play regularly with, and you get in that situation. Look, rec play is the biggest example of that. Jump on a court with somebody, and you think you're partnering with somebody, and they go, hey, well, I'd like to play with so-and-so. You play with the other person. And so you're playing with somebody for the first time. And we just tried to kind of navigate that road for some people of some things to think about.
Well, I want to tell you what, I've had this experience a number of times now, playing with somebody for the first time in a tournament. And the last tournament, that was the last straw. I'm just not going to do it again. And I'm not blaming the other person. It was me, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. If I'm going to play in a tournaments, I'm going to find some permanent partners that I can play with, win or lose, but at least somebody that I know how to play with and I know their game. It's just too much pressure walking onto the court with somebody that you've never played with before. I feel bad for Stacy, the last tournament that I played in. She's a good player, and I didn't play well at all. And it's because I feel like the pressure's on. So to me, you got to find a permanent partner, somebody you can play with on a consistent basis.
Well, and
That's
maybe,
just my-
Bud, and maybe that's a good point, that when you play with somebody for the first time, maybe you check some of your expectations at the door and just kind of
No doubt.
just have a little more fun with it and try to work. Look, as we said, overly communicate is one of the top things, and really determine what side of the court, a left side, right side player. Those are two of the keys that I recall from that episode.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, since it is a first-time partner, don't put pressure on yourself or your first-time partner, and just have fun.
And that's exactly what Vicki told me to do. And that's exactly what I didn't do.
I did. I told him that beforehand. I truly did.
She did. She said, "Bud, just have fun. Don't worry about it. Just have fun."
Take the
and
pressure
get out there
off
on
of yourself. Exactly.
You get out there on a court with somebody you know is a good player, and you just, it was just not going to do it again.
Well, Bud, I'm going to suggest you watch episode from February 29th, 24, when you get a free moment.
Yeah. In all seriousness, for me, this is intriguing because, and we've talked about this, you're missing out on an opportunity at rec play if you don't go into every match. I don't care if you're playing with Miss Susie that is 95 years old. Okay? You're probably not going to win that match, but I'll say to myself, hey, if we can figure out how to get 5 points here. I think people are missing the boat there. I think they step on the court, and if they end up with the weaker player, they're just like, well, I'm just writing this game off. It's rec play. It don't really matter.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
missing an opportunity there. Okay.
Yeah.
And
you made a good point, Jeff. Victory can come just by winning a few points in a game that you might have been so much the underdog. That's a victory. It doesn't have to be binary that you've got to win or lose the 11 points. So
that's correct, Ken. And the other point I want to make on this is there's groups of players that think, man, I'm only going to play high level with high level. It's hard to find high level people. Okay. So they play within that same group and they learn each other's shots, and you can watch those people play. And I play with some of those people, and a lot of the points are amazing. They're good points. But when you mix and match and play with a bunch of different people, I think it helps a high level player try to figure out, one, how to win a game, and two, how to not be frustrated on the court. Because that's part of what does us in at tournaments and everything else, is when the other team frustrates us. So
no doubt.
Again, keeping the glass half full, I think it's important to mix it up and play with people for the first time and get out there and figure it out.
I agree. And I think it's such a mental game, and we know that
it is.
You've got to learn to control that at some point in time.
Our number 3 episode was the third shot hybrid, or drip, as it was called. And that aired November 31st, or November 30th of 2023. That was really interesting.
This is one of my favorites.
Well, you introduced it, Vicki. You're the one that introduced that. So tell us all about it.
It is because, and we just had a big conversation today about even the difference between men's doubles, watching the pros on TV, and the difference between men's doubles and then the ladies' doubles. And you're watching the ladies do a lot more of these drips and just heavier, harder battles at the net. It is a dink battle. And for a person like me who struggled learning that third shot drop, it took me a long time to feel comfortable and just tell myself one day, you can do it. And like I said before, and I probably said it in that in that episode, probably told Jeff and Ken a million times, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I had pressured myself to do it. And it took me to step away from it, realizing that I had been doing the drip more than I had been doing the drop. So when I said, absolutely, I love this shot, it's because I had been doing that shot for a long time trying to do a drop. So, it's a little more aggressive. It's not something that I think you need to do all the time. And certainly we didn't want to make that idea in anybody's head that, this is something you can do every time instead of a third shot drop. You still need to learn the third shot drop. There's no way around that. And I learned that the hard way and finally got comfortable with it and and attempted a whole lot more. But there's certain sides of the court that I know I've mentioned that before too, that I do a drop better from, and I can do the drip better from, another side. So learning those patterns in your own game is, I think, really important. But again, it's somewhere between a drive and a drop, and it's called the drip. And I love it.
This goes hand in hand with when we talked about evolution of the game, with the paddle technology going on, with people being able to grip the ball with their paddles. A dead dink gets attacked, a dead drop shot can get attacked. So this drop that we're talking about, it's really a good shot to get you in that mode, to get you headed to the net. But I want people to really think about this, and I want y'all to think about it a little bit. When they hit it back to you, a lot of times, you're in that mid range. Then you don't go with the drip drive. You go with something really soft up and over the net, and it finishes getting you and your partner to the net. I was watching some players play the other day, and their first initial drop shot was good, but then as they started moving to the net on their fifth and on their seventh, they started trying to speed the ball up, and the other two players were at the net. I was watching them lose about 75-80% of the points. So it's when people talk about the game speeding up, I can watch tape of pro pickleball, and I can show them many instances where the game still has there's still a lot of merit in hitting the ball soft at the correct times.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ken, you were commenting on that too, watching the men's
doubles.
I
mean, when we turn on our TV, pickleball channel comes on. It's the first that comes on. And so we're constantly watching it before we get to whatever program we really wanted to put on at the time. And just watching Ben Johns, even in a singles match, his soft game, I mean, he hits more soft shots than anybody else, and he's still the number one. I mean, he just beat what's his name?
Federico
Staksrud? Yeah, Frederick Staksrud. He just beat him and reclaimed, because he was the number 2 seed in that tournament. But I mean, he hits more soft shots both in doubles and singles than anybody else. People are trying to speed it up, and he is still keeping the ball soft. He speeds it up when he needs to. So. So number 2 episode was competitive drill games, and that was May 2nd of this year, 2024. And that was a great, that really derived from a lot of the drills that Vicki leads on a weekly basis. Vicki, why don't you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, I mean, this was really, again, a favorite of mine, and an exciting topic. And I'm thrilled that it's number 2, because it does say something about there being a balance for people. And again, we talked a lot about how there's so many people that just have only so much time to get out there and play. They're playing in the evenings, weekends, and this is a way for them to take their games and turn it into something that's still competitive, but you're drilling at the same time. And, some of these games, Protect the Middle, 7-Eleven, whatever else, they're focused on one part of the game. For anybody out there that hasn't seen this episode, please watch it, because I'm hoping that we do see a little bit of it translate over to rec play a little bit. I think it would really benefit anybody that does it, and be a great conversation for people to have out there. But it's very, very beneficial, just as much as if you had been drilling, for an hour. So
Yeah, Vic, this talking about this particular thing, it's been part of mine and your evolution in coaching. We used to be like, just hitting drop shots or dinking and this and that, but over time we took and turned it into a competitive environment.
that's
And
right.
the biggest point I can think of right now, right off the top of my head, is for those that don't really like the actual drilling, this is a fun way to drill,
Mm-hmm.
and you're actually playing like regular pickleball points.
Mhm.
But the thing that you have to do in these things, like if the four of us get into the two courtesy dink drills and then craft your point, if I'm in that and I'm the one that's continually speeding the ball up and hitting it in the net and hitting the ball out of bounds, then I gotta look at myself and say, all right, stop doing that. And that's what this will show you. And you can keep on getting in points. And if you're the patient one, or if you're not patient and you get more patient and you start seeing, hey, I'm going to be patient, and me and my partner down the road are getting a better ball to put away. There's still a lot of merit in what you can get out of this, even if you don't like to drill. So everything leads back to drill, people, drill. But
Good
this is
point.
another way. Yeah, this is another way to make drilling fun. And I thought it was a good
Yeah.
episode for us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And again, if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's very helpful.
And our number one episode based
Drum
on
roll,
views,
please.
drum roll, was Skinny Singles, which
Whoa,
aired January 10th of 2024.
that's a shocker.
Well, a lot of people are used to playing singles and they think, well, I can't really play singles. I'm either because of this, because of that, covering the court. It's a younger man's game, whatever. Skinny singles is really a way, as we talked about, for two people to work on all aspects of your pickleball game, playing on half the court, either diagonally or across from each other. And it's now becoming, it's really for the older players, it's now replacing singles as an event in some of these tournaments, or they have both regular and skinny singles. So it's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, I think USA Pickleball is actually included in the rule book now as a game. So I like playing it because, to me, it puts a premium on accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just sit back and smack the ball. You've got to
Right.
be able to put the ball not only in half the court, but with consideration of where your opponent is at the same time. So I think it's a good. We play it a lot. During drills when we only have two people sitting out. Get on the court and play a little skinny singles. That happens a lot.
That's right. And I think there was a lot of interest too in that people would hear it, but they didn't also know how it actually worked. And
Yeah.
and knowing that you may go head on, you may go cross. When you go, when your score is odd, you're going to move to the other side to serve. lot of little things about that with playing the game that I don't think as many people were familiar with. So in a way, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And it's by far the closest thing you can get to doubles with two people, because
Yeah,
skinny
it
singles,
does.
you have to play the doubles game. If you try to play regular singles in skinny singles, you're probably going to lose.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have to control your shots, and it's just a good way. I know working out with Chase Rigdon when he was still living here, he would always want to do skinny singles at the end, and I would, of course, I could never beat him, but I was in a lot of the points, and if I could score 4 or 5 points in that game against him, it was really good. But I didn't understand back then, but I saw over time, hey, you got to play with your doubles technique here to try to win points in skinny singles. So it's a fun game. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of shocking to me that that's our number one episode, but I guess it is what it is.
All right, that was some good discussion on our top 10 episodes. They've been all great. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed them all, but those were the most popular, and we really enjoyed doing them. So we're going to move along a little bit now, and as usual, it's time for Burr Under My Saddle, but it's not going to be Jeff.
All righty, bud. Let's see if I can't do it justice. People. I don't know about you guys, but I sure have learned some Jeff-isms in the last year. I hope y'all can appreciate these and work at them just as much as I've had to today. So, when speaking about your opponents, you want to make sure to know that your opponent, that's a higher level player, is going to find your weaknesses and pick at them like a scab. Well, and they may think they're all that in a can of corn on top of it. But one thing's for sure, they should not go sitting on their high horse looking down at people. That just would not be right. And when they're good, you can always say, he's so athletic. He's better than me. He played tennis with Moses. When speaking about your equipment, I don't know. Some paddles are just going to be in your hand and they're going to feel like a wild horse. But trying out new paddles, using some paddles is going to be like bringing a knife to a gunfight. But remember, Daddy always said, you bring one tool to the field, you ain't going to get much work done. So, here it is. If you come up to me afterwards and you tell me, get off your high horse, you think you're a can of corn, don't worry about it. I'm still going to talk to you. And I'll still even play pickleball. Jeff, we appreciate you and appreciate all your Jeffisms. How about some justice?
I got some work to do in coming weeks because that was really good.
I didn't realize that in the last year that I would learn a new language by being a part of the podcast.
It's Jefflish.
You got to learn country.
Yes, you got to learn country. And
all right,
learn
Vicki.
to appreciate those.
That was priceless.
Thank you for that Burr Under My Saddle. That was great. All right, and now it's time for...
Hey, bud, I've got a shout out.
As you could see, it's me back here instead of Vicki, and we all want to take this time to thank all of our subscribers for being there for us, for enjoying our program, and we hope you're still with us in a year, and we hope we gain more. But really, thanks everybody who watches this. We really appreciate it.
And I'd like to give a shout out to all those people who we have met along the way and have been gracious to let us interview them. Some of the things that we've learned about pickleball in the community. Some of my favorite interviews have been where there's a purpose involved. Cindy and Tex Morris, just interviews where that the tournament is doing some real good in the community, and learning Thomas with the Boys Ranch. That interview will always touch my heart. And Alicia Stickles just recently. Those things really mean a lot. And so I want to give them a shout out and thank them for the interviews that we've had, and everybody that we've had interviews with. We've done a lot of learning over the last year.
Yeah, I've really learned a lot by having guests on that have kind of given their story that goes back well beyond when I started playing. I've learned so much about the evolution of pickleball in the Gulf Coast area, and I've really enjoyed the visit to the different facilities, and as well as just talking about pickleball with my three friends here. So this has been a great ride, and I just thank everybody for the feedback and for watching. So
you always help me with a segue, Ken, and that's my shout out is to the three of y'all. It had no idea. I had no idea where this could go. But it's led us down a fun journey. We always say we're not trying to tell somebody this is how you have to do things, but all of y'all have done a good job. We've done a good job as a team of presenting a lot of different things, and hopefully along the way it's sparked people's imagination and thought process of how you play the game. It's unique. And hopefully some of the things we've talked about have helped you find your uniqueness for those out there. So it's been a fun ride, and I'm ready to go. Let's get on into year 2. We'll hopefully be celebrating year 2 here in about 52 weeks.
And now it's time for Ken and his tournament previews. Hot off the press, it's time for Ken's tournament previews.
Hey, thanks, Bud. Let's start with June, May 31st through June 2nd. It's the Battle of Biloxi at Pops Ferry Recreational Area in Biloxi, Mississippi. It's singles, doubles, and mixed doubles. We're going to put a flyer up. You can scan the QR code, or there'll also be a URL that we'll put on the screen. Again, that's May 31st through June 2nd. June 1st is the Port City Pickleball Tournament in Divine Park in Chickasaw, Alabama. Go to www.port-city-pickleball.com. We'll put the URL up. It's $30 for one division, $45 for two division, and we'll also put the flyer up so you can scan the QR code to register. June 7th through 9th is the Summer Smash Pickleball Tournament at the Lafayette Pickleball Club in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go to pickleballbrackets.com to register. Registration closes June 3rd. There's over 112 people registered right now. June 8th, the Woolmarket MLP. This will be at the Woolmarket Pickleball Courts in Biloxi, Mississippi. We'll put the URL at the bottom of the screen. So you can either be in 3.999 and below, which will be in the morning, or 4.0 and above, which will be in the afternoon. There will be prize money awarded. June 15th, Pickleball for the Pups. This will be at Stacks Pickleball, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We'll go to globalpickleball.network. We'll put the long URL at the bottom of the screen. There's men's doubles, women's doubles, and mixed doubles. June 20th through 23rd, Paddles at the Plex, Opelika, Alabama. Go to pickleballbrackets.com to register. There's over 230 people registered. Registration closes June 10th for this one. let's see, July 12th, 13th, 2024. We've got a flyer we're going to put up. This is for the Berwick High School Basketball Pickleball Fundraiser Tournament. It's at the Berwick Civic Center. Spots are limited. We do not have a URL. I would contact the Berwick Civic Center or the Berwick High School to see about registering for this, but we wanted to pass that along. August 8th through 11th is the NOLA Pickle Fest. This will be at the Moriel Convention Center in New Orleans. Go to pickleballbrackets.com to register. There's over 310 people registered. We're actually going to be there and do some remote recording. If you can't play, go on Saturday. Saturday morning, Drew Brees and John McEnroe will get paired with pros and we'll play on center court. September 6th through 8th is the Louisiana State Championship at the New Orleans Hilton in New Orleans, Louisiana. Go to pickleballbrackets.com. If you medal gold, silver, or bronze in this tournament, you qualify to play at the United States Championship. That's the inaugural United States Championship in Dallas, Texas. And if you achieve gold, your fees will be waived to register for the championship. October 4th through 6th is the Louisiana Senior Games. This has been moved. It's now at Stacks Pickleball in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We do not have a URL yet. As soon as registration opens, we'll pass that along. It is a qualifying year for nationals, which will be in Des Moines, Iowa in the summer of 2025. Also, at the end of October, the 25th through 27th, is the Hollow Wheel Pickleball Tournament in Baton Rouge. I think it could be full by now, but we'll put a URL. You can get on the wait list for it. We'll put a URL at the bottom of the screen. You never know. They've been able to let either some partners needing partners in or some teams in at the last minute. November 1st through 3rd, this is the NP Daphne Pickleball Classic at W.O. Lott Park. It's a new listing. It'll be in Daphne, Alabama. There's singles, doubles, and mixed doubles. Mixed doubles will be on Saturday. Singles for gender will be singles, like for men, will be on Friday, and men's doubles on Sunday, and the opposite for women's. Go to pickleballbrackets.com to register and get more information on that. Finally, November 15th through 17th is the World Pickleball Tour at Breck Greenwood in Baker, Louisiana. Go to pickleballbrackets.com to register. Registration for this will close November 10th of 2024. That's it. If you have a tournament that you want promoted or if you have additional information, we'll put my email address at the bottom of the screen. That's it on Pickleball Tournaments Preview. Back to you, Bud.
Thanks again for those previews, everybody. We got a lot of tournaments. Get out there and play some pickleball. And now, if nobody has anything else, let's all say goodnight. And again, thank you for a great year.
See y'all
Good
next week.
night. Thank you.
Hey, from the Pickleball crew, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Well, that's it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave any comments and please like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks again and see you next week.